Jump up and run up there than I was. Thank you. What is this? Oh, my. Okay. Yes, you must hear every word. I'm sure it's important. I moved to Madeira in 1946 when I was in the 9th grade, and my dad had accepted a job here in Cincinnati. We moved from New Jersey, and my dad had some very specific requirements. Is somebody saying something? He had some very specific requirements about the neighborhood in which we would buy a house. He wanted the sun in his back and when driving to work, and the sun in his back when he was driving home. And his job was in Carthage. Well, anyway, he finally decided, since Madeira met that bill, that he would buy a house there, and it would be a great place for his daughter also to be able to walk to school. The high school was where the middle school is located now, and the very first week that I went to school, I found everyone really liked one another. We were really very close friends, and there were 50 in the class, around 200 in the high school. Mr. Stoughton, if you remember that name, was our chemistry prof. Mr. Derricks, that was mentioned, was our math prof. Mrs. Williams was English, and Miss Piles was Latin. There was even an engagement going on that we were pretty excited about. We thought that Mr. Stoughton and Miss Piles were going to get married. But apparently his mom had something to say about it. So they didn't. I hope nobody's here that would affect them. My first fall, I tried out for cheerleading. I remember the bleachers being just filled with kiddos out there waiting to see all of us try out for cheerleading. The Madeira girls, as it turned out, had already noticed that here in Madeira, it was kind of a choreographic dance. I mean, they were just darling. I came from New Jersey, and it was more stilted. And so you can imagine that I didn't make much of a hit, and I certainly wasn't. I did not make the cheerleading team. But tryouts then came, and I was cast for one of the leads to play in the play that Deke mentioned, You Can't Take It With You. And so, wait a minute. Anyway, let me see where I am. I was a bit of a talker and giggler, and one time I got in trouble in Mrs. Williams' English class for not paying attention. And she asked me to go into the hall till I could control myself. And there I was, sitting alone on the floor. There were no chairs. And that's when I noticed Mr. Selman, our principal, come out of his office way down there, and he started heading my way with his hands behind his back, just like this. And I knew that his last place to stop was in front of me, which it was. And he came and he said, well, Miss Rhodes, why are you sitting in the hallway? And I answered, I'd been talking too much, and I'm trying to get control of myself. And so he simply said, and he turned around and walked back down the hall. A group of us thought it would be fun. Anybody remember Mr. Derricks? Anybody here as old as we are? And we all loved all our teachers, didn't we? But Mr. Derricks was our math teacher. He was rather shy, and so it so happened at Christmas time, mistletoe was put over the doorway of the door he would come in to go to class. And so we all decided it would be fun to make use of the mistletoe. So here comes Mr. Derricks, who, was just so shy, but just very strong at the same time. And he came there, and I jumped out, kissed him on the cheek. And actually, that was the end of the story, but it was kind of fun. There were school dances in the multi-purpose room, and they used a record player just to be on the sideline. Somebody had to be in control of the records. And we did jitterbug in those days as well as today. I also had a boyfriend on the basketball team. So I didn't miss the basketball games, and also had girlfriends come to my house for sleepovers. And we were on Maple Avenue, which is kind of in the center of things. So it proved to be a good sort of a meeting place for friends, and many of whom I'm still in touch. So some Madeira, I think that's the end of that part. Some of fun Madeira facts. It was smaller then, under 3,000 population, and much more rural than it is today. It's always been, and always I hope will be, the same really friend and wonderful place to live. The movie theater was the Camargo Theater, and that was located where Starbucks is now. My mother did her grocery shopping at a market where a Tavola is now. We kids would go to Frisch's Mainliner, where the girls would deliver our orders and come out on roller skates and put them in our car window, that being the hamburgers. Braun Pharmacy had a wonderful soda fountain, and somebody mentioned loop pretzels were 2 for 5 cents. We all had jobs. I worked at the newspaper, the Eastern Hills Journal, and then in the summertime, I think I worked at GE. Eastern Hills Journal was around the corner from the bike shop. What's the bike shop now? I am simply thrilled at the end of my life to be here where so much of the beginning began, and to be with you all. It's wonderful to have good friends from here right now as well. That held me back. Sure.